This is the raw truth again, coming at you with part two of the awareness of black children's suicide. Now, when I stopped off the part where, I read a phrase and I told you that I was going to give my opinion of why it said those things in the first place. And I'm going to read it one more time. I know y'all heard me read it about two or three times. Oh, just get to the point. But this is part two, and I wanted to remain fresh in your mind. Let it marinate because I have a whole heck of a lot to say about this. All right. And it says, it's difficult to say for certain why more black children are committing suicide, but researchers identify exposures to violence. Let's stop right there. Exposures to violence. How is our children, exposed to violence? I remember a couple of videos, like three or four videos ago, I was speaking about how children are being disciplined not out of love, but children are being disciplined like our parents have became the slave masters, whooping our behinds because they do not know, neither is very ignorant of disciplining us out of love. You will hear the belt cracking or anything cracking. You'll hear the name calling. You hear the disrespect, and they think it's doing it out of love, but meanwhile it's harmful. So at a very young age, the child has become accustomed to being whooped so much and beaten down so much, and that whooping was out of hatred. It was not out of love. And so, what does it say? It says what? That it has exposure. Our children have exposure to violence. Now, when you look around, 74% of households are fatherless. So, 74% of households that are fatherless, which by default, common sense and logic would tell you who's doing the violence in our homes. It's already been reported in the FBI files that black women lead in child abuse. So the exposure of violence is coming from the black woman called Black Mother. She is the number one woman, the number one person who abuses her own children. No, as of murdering over 550,000 babies a year, committing genocide a year wasn't good enough, but now they lead in child abuse. And when you're leading in child abuse means that you are torturing your children at home. They're not only torturing the little boys because the little boys look like their father. The little boys may have some ways about him that resembles his father. The little boy was sitting up there who is hated and being used by the pawn in by his own mother. And let alone daughters are being tortured too because daughters are being forced to be raised as mothers to do a better job at being a mother than her own mother because the mom wants to get some sleep, the mom wants to go out there and party, have herself a good time, and who has to play the mother? Yes, you got it, the big sister. So a whole lot of violence is being exposed in our homes and the children's home in the children's homes. These children are getting abused and tortured at the hands of their mother. So when they start telling you that the children are having exposures to violence, understand the number one people to ever harm a child, the number one ranked number one is a parent. Then it's the family friend. It's always a parent, relative, or family friend. Excuse me, a parent, relative, or family friend. These are the number three, one, two, three, in that order that harms children. Then it says, but researchers identify exposure to violence and traumatic stress among black children. When something is traumatic, it means it's so torturous. I just spoke about how little girls are being tortured at the hands of their mother because they're being forced to be mothers that their own mothers failed to be. And so when you're having children who is being tortured, remember did a video called "Does the Black Man Have Stockholm Syndrome for His Mother?" This was on point because a lot of times these kids has been tortured so much that they develop a Stockholm syndrome to their mother. That's why anything their mother do, everything is okay, everything's hunky dory. Just like Tommy Sotomayor has said, just like the Obsidian Network news media has said, social media has said. I've always said it. You know, what did they say about Tupac's mother? What did Tupac say about his mother? You always was a crack fiend, mama, but you always be a black queen, mom. You know what I'm saying? Always be a black queen. So regardless of how destructive she was to herself, how destructive she was to her family, how she was a no good mother, because when you on drugs, I don't give a damn what you say. If you on drugs and been on drugs, you failed as a parent. You felt as a father, you felt as a mother because you was a piss poor excuse of a no good person to your own children. So don't hand me that crap. Don't come at me. Well, I was a functional addict, but I was a good. No, you wasn't. If you was a good parent, you wouldn't have brought that shit around your children. You wouldn't have brought that at all. And a lot of parents, you sit up there, mainly you black woman, you sit up there, you get drunk, you come home from the club, and next thing you know it, you're yelling at the kids like crazy, and the kids trying to get some sleep, but you want to come in with your raggedy ass attitude and wake everybody up and have everybody being submissive unto you. And because your children is awoke and they can't understand because they just woke up from your loud ass mouth, now you're going off on your children, torturing them even more. So when he's talking about the children being tortured, yes, our children are being tortured. The child abuse is very, very high in our community, and black women, you lead in it. I'm so sick and tired of black women talking about that they are the backbone in our community when they have done nothing but destroy our community. Over 74% of homes fatherless. So who the hell is doing the torture? Who's doing the torture? I want somebody to sit up there and tell me who's doing the torturing since 74% of the homes are fatherless. Who's doing it? And a lot of times, you women, you sit up there and have these men because you want to get your freak on, you want to get your lust on, you want to have everybody see who's hitting you and who you hitting and stuff. And he wind up creeping on your daughter, or he wind up molesting your child. And we see it time and time again. If you go and subscribe and go to Tommy Sotomayor's site, he has thousands of videos up. And when you look at these videos, it all has something in common. The videos that have in common is dealing when a woman is with a man who is a thug, and that's normally with the people that you take, black woman, a thug or somebody to get your lust on. He's always doing something stupid, getting her 11-year-old pregnant, passing diseases off to her child. You know, what the heck kind of sense does this make? This makes absolutely no sense. So look at that. Just in this period of time of me talking and me telling you about all this, you are being exposed to this community, the community that we live in, and hardly anybody want to talk about it, because when you start talking about things, you know, you're going to ruffle feathers, you're going to step on people's toes, and you're going to do all kind of things that's going and say all kind of things that's going to offend people. But it must be done, because let me tell you something: if nobody stands up for the truth, then we will all fall for a lie. And I'm trying to tell you, I'm about sick and tired of this. Now, I told you exposure to violence and traumatic stress among black children, as well as aggressive school discipline. Why is it aggressive school discipline? Translate this. Take a journey with me. It's like a person who's sitting up there getting bullied. He's getting bullied like crazy. That bully takes his lunch money. The bully smacks him upside the head. The bully is a lot stronger than him. The bully pushes him down. The bully kicks him. The bully smears cake on him. That bully throws water on him or throws soda at him, and it renders that guy who is or that guy or that boy, we can say a child, it renders that child or anybody of being so powerless that he or she has to get power over someone else so they can feel good about themselves. See, that's what's happening in these schools. These kids is acting out for a couple reasons. Reason number one is what I said. He has no power at home. His manhood is stunted. He took his childhood away, so now he has no power at home. So he has to get power. He's a boy. He's a child. He has to somehow figure out a way to get power. So just like that guy who's being bullied, he then looks out for somebody who is weak to bully that person so he can feel good about himself because he wasn't confident enough to stand up to the bully who really was the one that was torturing him. And that goes hand in hand for what I've been saying that's going on in our community. People do not want to stand up to black women, period. Neither do children want to stand up to their own mothers and let their own mothers know that you have shamed us. Let their own mothers know that they weren't good mothers at all. Let their own mothers know that no, you're not a queen. No, 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 no. I will not see you as a queen. You're not the backbone. You know why? Because every time you stand up and you speak about black women, well, we know what happened. A couple years ago, what happened? Detroit 300 came. Men sitting up there wanting to stand up to be men. Remember, ladies? And what happened in Detroit 300? They went and questioned because homicide has happened, and they went to question the people who was around it. Well, black women got mad, and black women in the white supremacist system got the Detroit 300 shut down. So we see that there's a huge problem in our community. There's a huge problem in our community. And this is aggressive school discipline and a higher likelihood of early onset puberty as possible risk factor. And it's kind of funny that as I was saying these things to you and helping you understand the bigger picture that is facing our community, it's kind of funny how they left the abuse of black women, the mother. Yes, how they left that out, how they conveniently left that out when there was attempt to try to misguide you and have you see, well, the torture and abuse is coming from somewhere else. Because black women today, they're not accountable for nothing. They don't take responsibility for anything. And so because they don't, they're not going to tell you the full truth neither. And if you're not a person who holds yourself accountable and responsible, then you yourself as a child, you're not a man and you're not a woman. I can care less what you say. You can get mad. I can care less. Then it says, studies to determine whether change in suicide rates in black and white children correspond to periods of change in the risk factor for children's suicide and important next steps. Britt said the trends in the studies were driven by boys across all age groups. Women are less likely to die by suicide, even though suicide attempts are 3 times higher among women than men. Did you catch that? These women have suicide thoughts 3.5 times and more than us, but their suicide rate is less than us. Why is their suicide rate less than us? Well, there's going to be a part 3. There's going to be a part 3 to this. I'm going to have to add it because I'm going to put everything together from the time that I started and bring everything in focus. So there will be a part 3 to this, to the awareness of black children suicide. There's going to be a part 3. And I'm going to make it good the reason why black women, even though they have suicide thoughts 3.5 times more than we, why is it that they're not dropping like we are dropping? So I'm the Raw Truth, and we'll be back for part 3.